Okay guys, we've got another exciting Vanguard video, part 3 in our series. As you can see behind me, Vanessa's sitting there with no bonnet. In this episode, we remove the bonnet, we fix all the rust, and we get it primed and prepped and ready for paint. Stay tuned. Alright, early start this morning. First thing to do, take the bonnet off. Here we go. Alright, that's done. Dropped a few nuts and bolts, but here we go. Alright, well in a previous episode I mentioned about putting your nuts in a bag, your nuts and bolts. Now I lost a bolt, found it. It only took me 40 minutes. So I lost 40 minutes worth of work for this original bolt. That's something that I can't replace, so putting it in the bag. Make sure you put stuff in the bag, not like I did. Anyway, lecture over. Alright, well first job for the morning is to attack this strip here. As you can see, it's lifting up and there's rust under it, and there's rust all the way down. So first thing I want to do is get all of that rust off, see what we've got, and if it's not too bad I want to put a bit of a tack weld here. Now unfortunately I don't have a MIG or a TIG. I'm going to have to use a stick, and I'm worried that I'm going to blow that away, but if I can keep the amps down, we should be okay. But yeah, first thing is to get all of this rust off here. I've got a few implements of torture to use. This one looks exciting because it's got the word aggressive on it. Gotta love anything that says aggressive, and it's got like little tiny needles of wire that can stick into your skin and rip it apart. That's going to be fun. And then I've got this paint rust removal disc and flat disc and all manner of other aggressive looking nasties, which hopefully will only nasty on the rust and not nasty on me. Anyway, let's see how we go. Alright, well I just wanted to see what we do have as far as metal, and we're all good here. I've got a little bit of a piece of paper disc. That's what I was using on the grinder, and that was able to get underneath, sorry for the bad camera work, underneath there to get as much rust out as we could. But yeah, we've got a little bit of a hole here where the bracing is underneath has been sitting, so I'm going to have to address that. But what we're going to do firstly is just get this tacked down so I don't catch it when I'm using other things on the whole bonnet. We'll get that tacked, and then we'll see where we're at with the whole bonnet, and then we'll just paint strip and get the rust as it comes. Alright, so that worked out okay. You saw me building it up to the same height so that when I sand it back it'll be, you know, nice and smooth, and it will look right. So that's going to give it some foundation now, some strength, and also stop me catching it if I get it with a disc or something and pull it off. So still got to address these holes up here. That one is the nastiest. And no, I won't be attacking it with the arc welder. Don't want to make the hole the size of, you know, a ginormous well. But what we're going to be doing is paint stripping next and then sanding back. Alright, paint strip has been sitting for a while, but we're going to be doing a bit of ASMR. Here we go. And the paint comes off slowly. Look at how satisfying. The scraper moves across the metal, taking all of the rusty paint with it. Oh, so sensual. Okay, enough of that. Here we go. Just wanted to show you what I was using for the scraping. It's an old floor mop, floor broom. It's got a nice scraping edge on it. And I just use whatever I have laying around. There's a lot of stuff laying around, so you know, you might as well use what you've got. And look at that. Look at that. All those hopes and dreams from 20 years ago laying on the floor in a big pile of black goop. Anyway. Alright, there it is. Seems sealed up. It's very, very thin, but it's pushed right into the joint. So hopefully water won't get back in there again. And it's good stuff because you can paint over it. And we'll see what it looks like once it's dry. Anyway, time for lunch. After lunch, it's etch time. Alright, welcome to my spray booth. I'm going to do some wax and grease remove and then first coat of etch primer. Alright, give it a second coat once this is dry. End of the second coat. Question you've got to ask yourself, how many mozzies can I blow into it? I think total 3 so far, so let's see if we can get a few more in there. Oh, awesome! Look at him there, plotting the demise of my paintwork. Evil little thing. Look at that mozzie. Yes, you go. You go and don't come back and tell all your friends. Okay, fill a primer, here we go. Alright, I have to say I laid it on pretty thick there. There is a lot of grinding sanding marks in the metal. The rust that was there was really, really deep, and yeah, I really had to go a little bit deeper, more aggressive than I wanted. So there is more filler primer, and that's only going to be the initial coat. We're going to sand it back and see where we're at, and hopefully that'll won't need another coat, but if it does, so be it. Okay, as you can see, block sanding, sanding with 800 grit to get it back. Once it's back down to a nice level, I'm going to do some bogging some filler here, and yeah, we'll give it another coat of filler primer after that. I won't make you watch the whole thing, I'll come back when I'm finished. Okay, well, I have sanded these back to pretty much where I want them with 800 paper, and as you can see there's areas here where I've come back to the etch primer, and that way it's filled in all of the imperfections that I made with the sander. So actually this is very smooth, and I've also done the same thing with the bonnet, which you can see behind, and the sun visor here. So these are going to get blackened today. We did a black colour and maybe some clear coat, so we'll see how we go. Okay, well that's the end of the second coat, and I intend on doing 3 coats of base and 3 coats of clear. Now it's not perfect, and you know what you expect for what I'm painting it under, but it's a lot better than it sitting in the Drivo rusting away. So we'll see what it's like when it gets some clear, and I do intend on buffing it, so I will be doing quite a thick coat of clear to buff that down. Okay, I'm going to sound a little bit like Darth Vader, but I'm just showing you I'm mixing up the clear coat. Now I do it 3 to 1, 3 thinners to 1 of the clear. So we're about to do first coat clear on the panels. It's been 40 minutes. Let's see how we go. All right, look at me. Haha, I have a black mustache. I've done 4 coats of clear and they're pretty shiny. I'm not happy with the level of orange peel, so I'm going to be giving them a sand back with 2000 or 1500 sandpaper and a buff, or I may do a flow coat over the top of the whole car once it's done. So yeah, I do want to have them a little bit better with the orange peel, but it's at least protected from the elements now and presentable enough. So there you go, we've got the first panels painted up black. I just wanted to show you the finish that I'm going to get on the Vanguard. I painted this Mini 2 years ago, and I painted it exactly the same way, exactly the same compressor, and we'll just have a look at the finish. So as you can see the reflection there is pretty good, you know. There's a couple of little swirl marks from the buffing. It's not perfect, but it came out really well. I don't know if you can tell on the white, but yeah, it came out really good, and that was painted in the same way that I'm painting the Vanguard. So I'm pretty confident that I can get it looking like this, if not better. Black is pretty unforgiving when it comes to imperfections in the paint, but again, it's a backyard job, so as long as it can look as good as it can look, I'll be happy. Alright guys, another video done for Vanessa, one step closer to getting finished. Bonnet and boot are all done and nicely prepped and ready to go. Next step is the doors and then the roof, and then we're going to get into some real rust repair. So stay tuned. Oh, and if you liked it, please give me a like, and if you really liked it, please subscribe. Thanks a lot. Okay, another exciting Vanguard episode, part 3 of our series. Vanessa's getting fixed up. As you can see behind me, we've got crows going off constantly, and it's driving me crazy. All I wanted to do was just film, and constantly these crows. It's like being in a Stephen King movie. Oh my God.